You can't be nice to everyone. Nice guys finish last. Spread kindness. All this stuff, you probably think, what the fuck is he going on with here? Um, having having experienced a bit of shit last night, which I've already made a video on, but also people like in comment sections who, I'll have a debate with, because like I like a debate, or people in general, just have a disagreement with them. It's impossible to be nice to everyone, it really is. The more like I'm saying this and I'm making this video because I really just want to clarify. I might sound like an arsehole at times. I'm perfectly willing to accept that. Like I talk about this being a mental health channel, and it is, but I mean that genuinely. Wholeheartedly. I'm not bullshitting when I say that. And anyone who comes to me and has any issues, and people have reached out and I've answered their questions, and I've no issue doing that whatsoever. Um, but even like you get trolls and what have you, I just think like you can't be nice to everyone. It's impossible, and you shouldn't be either. I wish it were a perfect world where we could all spread kindness and be nice to everybody, but that's not the reality of it, And unfortunately, if you are nice to absolutely everyone, there are some individuals, and I think particularly nowadays, unfortunately, all this virtue signaling that goes on, where people like to say that they're the best thing in the world and they're lovely people. I think it makes a real grey area with who's a dickhead, what's acceptable and what isn't. Because if you say spread kindness, then that kind of gives you a free pass to be a cunt to everybody. Whereas I'd rather sound like a cunt but be genuine, be a genuine cunt. um, like when I made this channel, the idea I had behind it was to be genuine. You can even hear me in my first video where I'm trying not to swear or anything like that, because I didn't know what would be banned and what wouldn't be allowed and all that stuff when I was new. Um, I think it only works for like sponsorship and advertisements and your all important algorithm. But I have found being nice to everyone just makes you a doormat for people. I'm not saying like don't be decent to most people that you meet. Like be decent to everyone at first, but don't be an open book. Don't admit everything to them. Like loads of people will tell me their life story, and I'm like, I don't know you. You probably shouldn't be telling me all this. I'm not going to use it against you, but you've certainly given me the tools to start manipulating and blackmailing you. I know all your strengths and weaknesses because you've just told me them. Um, and now I'm guilty of that too, especially when I'm drinking. Didn't do it last night, thankfully. But it's just fruit for thought because you do see it. You see all these people saying spread kindness and they're most nasty pricks out there. And they're very manipulative and cunning. And I want to be genuine, you know. And if that makes me come across as a bit of an arsehole, well, at least you know I'm being genuine. I'm a genuine arsehole. Um, like, if you're nice to everyone all the time, that means you've no backbone. That means you won't stand up for your rights. I know that sounds bad, like it does. I'm not saying you be an arsehole to everyone, by no means. But you be wary of people until proven otherwise. Like, you can be decent, you can be pleasant to people, for sure, but you gotta be careful. Especially if you're getting into a romantic relationship with someone. Don't just jump in with anyone. I think a lot of people are guilty of doing that. Assess the person first, get to really know them. Um, there's sadly a lot of bad people out there, and we need to be aware of it. Like, I think in the workplace, you should try and be as nice as you can because it's a corporate environment, maybe, or whatever environment it happens to be. It might be construction, in which case, they all treat each other like shit in a loving sort of way, if that makes sense. But the last thing you want is, the day dragging by. I kind of had the idea of, look, it's a it's an environment where you have to be with people all day, whether you like it or not. They're the people you work with, so like it or not, you got to work together. And the last thing I would want is to not get along with people, and just have that tense sort of atmosphere, because that just drains you. And inevitably, like, you're gonna find people you don't like. That's just gonna happen. But that doesn't mean you have to hate the person. You can agree to disagree. They're just not your kind of person. Put it that way. But when I think the situations where, if I had been Mr. Nice Guy, I would have been walked all over. Like, I was kind of smart, but not a doormat. That kind of way. Because, like, there's been times where there's people trying to intimidate you. And they're clearly trying to test the waters with you, see if you're gonna bite, or how much are you gonna give. Like, I had just had a it was a load of work, like a poster presentation in college, and me and a few lads went out for a few drinks, and we were all shattered. Like, we were really knackered after being in, stressing out. We were having a few drinks, and the local, I say the college bar, but it certainly wasn't. In IT Tala, if you know, you know. The Metro. If anyone knows, please give a mention for the Metro. And it had its fun moments as well, but there were dodgy crowds that used to go to it, and there were these five dodgy looking young fellas, like with scars on the back of their head, and they were holding out bags of coke, and I saw a blade on one of them. And the two lads I was with, I didn't really know if I had much faith in them, because they were getting quite like anxious, and then going, "Oh, mind that stuff, look at them, keep an eye on." And I'm there going, "Be wary of these fuckers, but don't give them an invitation to come over." And one of them asked one of the lads for a smoke, and he just kind of instantly went and gave it to him. Now, to me, that kind of signals I can ask for as much as I want, and you're going to give it to me. Um, and we were hanging out, and we were buying each other rounds, and we went outside to have one, and they'd asked us for more. And they were like, "Oh, you say you have none, and then look at you, you've got loads." And I was like, "Well, I got this off my mate, and he's got none left." And then they were like, "Ah, give us go on, give us a smoke." And I just said, "I'll give you a few drags off of it." And I gave it to one of these lads, and I was kind of thinking, I'll let him have a few drags off it. And I was there thinking, "All right, mate." I said, "I'll give you a few drags," and he was like, "Oh yeah, sorry," handed it back to me. And then his mate comes up and says, "Oh, I want some." I was like, "No." And then he said, "I go on," and I said, "I'll leave you the ends on it, like, I'll leave you the end bit of it, but I've have to give him most of it. I'll have to give him some of it to your mate, so I'll give you the ends, and that's it." So that's what I did. Gave him like the butt end of it. But I wasn't giving him the whole fucking thing. Now, I wasn't looking for a fight. I wasn't in the mood for it, but I was just kind of going, "Be wary of this." And the lads I was with didn't know, like, if a scrap did break out, what they would be like. And would I be expected to do everything, because that's happened to me before, because I'm the nice guy who tries to look after everybody else, And that's what I'm talking about. You can be the nice guy and try to look after everyone as well. Um, but one of our lads gave the same thing. They gave a few drags to a fella, but he was like, "Oh, I'm keeping this," and I just said, "Ah, here, give him back a smoke." And then one of his mates said to him, in fairness, he was like, "Yeah, don't be scabby, like, he gave you the thing, like, so give it back to him after having a few drags." And he was like, all right," and he gave it back. So nothing happened in that, but to see how by your man, the first fella, being really nice and just going, "Yeah, yeah, have that," they kind of feel like they're entitled to everything, and you have to kind of be assertive, but you don't want a situation breaking out, so you got to be careful. Then, like, last night, when I waited until, like, if it was just verbal stuff, fair enough, but your man start threatening a family, and I was kind of just like on the bus, no, that's it now, I'm fucking putting my foot down. But if you stand back and do nothing, sadly, these fuckers thrive in that, these dodgy fuckers, because they're just testing the waters, they're going to see what they can get away with. And it seems to be a lot these days. And like when I've given money to homeless people and they say, oh, go to the ATM and get me more, you're like, fuck off. You don't want to be like that, but you're kind of there thinking, I've just given you money. I'm not a fucking charity, Like, I know that sounds bad, but you do. Like, at one stage, like, when I got it, or start getting interested in mental health, I wanted to change the world. And I was a peer supporter in college as well, thinking, oh yeah, I'll help loads of students, like young Irish students, I thought, because that's, like, I'm in an Irish college. But it was basically it was a lot of foreign students coming to me with demands, wanted me to come around to their house. I tried setting up meetings with them. I wasn't allowed to go to their house, FYI. That was completely against the rules. I could meet them on college campus, but that was it. Um, but I was accommodating. I tried switching up the meetings and all. Thought I'd be great. One of the girls came on to me and started hitting on me, and I was kind of thinking, oh, she was getting real demanding, and then saying I didn't love her and all this stuff, and I thought, I don't even know you. Um, yeah, sure, we flirted a bit on texts, but she was real demanding, and I kind of thought to myself, oh, fucking hell, what is going on here? So I had to report that to the college counsellor, and that got dealt with anyway. There was this other guy who just never showed up for any of the meetings I set up with him, even though I was there to help him. Um, and then he just wouldn't even let me know. He'd fall asleep, and like he was working as a bouncer, so fair enough. You're tired, but you could at least let me know you're bollocks. Then you might not wake up in time for it. You could set an alarm. Obviously, didn't prioritise meeting me anyway. But he wanted me to go all the way back to his house, and I thought, I'm not able to do that, and plus I don't really know you. It wouldn't really be a very good idea. See how you're trying to help people out, and you have this nicey approach, which I did, and I thought, yeah, I'll help people out. They just tried using me and expected me to jump through hoops for them, and it's not done for me. And then there's the people pleasing aspect as well, where you're trying to please everyone, but you're not pleasing yourself. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Keep your mind out with the gutter. Yeah, like, I know this sounds like a very negative idea. Like, I do get that. I'm not an arsehole to everyone I meet. In fact, I'll be very pleasant to people when I meet them. But be wary of people if you get a vibe off them, especially, Um, and like, I've been dissed by people I thought were friends, who I have stuck my fucking neck out for before, like looking out for them, making shit like some are women, and I look out for them and make sure the lads aren't taking advantage of them. But they don't end up going out with me. They go out with some. They probably end up going out with the fucking lad who stood in the corner, watching rather than helping. They don't appreciate it, because it's expected. And as I said, coats and jackets were just handed to me. Like, there you go. You mind them now, good man. Or mind their fucking purse and all that stuff. I'm not your fucking personal bodyguard. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's annoying. It really is. And yeah, I feel a bit more cynical now, but I'm not being used as a doormat, fuck you, you've no right to do that to me. Um and plus there's people commenting on stuff, putting negative comments up, and I made a video on people trolling me, um or making negative remarks. Bring it fucking on. you know. I'm old enough and ugly enough to take it. Um I have no time for that shit. My patience is wearing very thin for bullshit now, where I'm just like, you know what, do your fucking worst. Like, as well, speaking of fucking incidents on the bus, that Scouts couple, won't go into too much detail about all that, but we'll talk about it in the previous video, as I say, if you want to check that out. But because everyone was afraid to do anything. And like, look, I'll be honest, including me, I didn't want the grief. It was like, oh, they're drinking and they're smoking and they're busting blaring music. I didn't have the confidence to tell them not to do it. It's when they start falling around and affecting other people. I got up and was like, I'm involved now, whether I want to be or not. I was like, you lot just calm the fuck down. Um, but nobody else was stepping up, apart from me and Buster Brady. But yeah, everybody talks a good game. But when it comes to the fucking action, and look, I'm not fucking Superman, but at least I fucking make an effort and put myself out of my comfort zone. Like I stood up for people other than myself there, and I did last night, And soon after I got up and told John to cop the fuck on, he got off the bus. So I mean, I think I had a good hand to play in that. I didn't get fired because I didn't want to be. I was there going, I will if I fucking have to, but I don't want to. Do you know what I mean? I don't go in. My first instinct is not to start throwing haymakers. It's to assess the situation. Verbal stuff can be brought down with other verbal stuff, but if it's about to get violent, you've got to predict it and you've got to get ahead of it. Which I think I did, thankfully. I was like, I will do something if you do something, not leaving this family on their own to have to defend themselves. And they say nice guys finish last. It's an unfortunate truth. Basically means you're dependable, you're reliable, you'll always be there regardless of how poorly someone treats you. And that's not a challenge, and that's the problem. You're afraid to say no. And look, that's the thing. You're afraid to say no, you want to always impress people, you don't want to. I'd say it's more you want to not let people down, would be a better way of putting it. Not that you want to impress, but not when you're being taken advantage of. I mean, especially like if you're a guy trying to, like, if you're simping for a woman, know that she's not into you. And I'm not saying no woman will ever be into you, but I'm saying know when the woman is not into you. As hard as it might be, and you might crave the attention. Believe me, we all do. But know when it's run its course. And you're like, no, she's not into me. She's just using me. Fuck that. I'm not being taken for a mug. So that's that. Um, Look after yourselves first and foremost. Like, people who've taken advantage of me post spread kindness, and they're the biggest manipulators going. You're like, you're full of shit. Like, you're so full of it. And people who cheat on their fella all the time, it's because it's usually women like that post it. In my experience, um, I have to say what I've observed, and that's what I've observed. Women saying spread kindness when they're off cheating on their fella, just using them for gifts, and they're sleeping with somebody else behind his back. Um, with lads, they're often willing to do anything just to impress a woman so they can sleep with them, and that's it. They're not a nice guy, they're not a decent human being, but they'll stoop to any depth just to get the shag, the body count, whatever you want to call it. You can't be nice to everyone. Like I've said it about 3 times now, but it's something I really want to hammer home, because you you shouldn't be nice to people that aren't nice to you, because what that'll do is that'll lead to people who are predatory in nature, take advantage of you. They're gonna use and abuse you, and they know that you will keep coming back. And one thing I really fucking hate that really gets on my tits is good people being taken advantage of for their good nature. If you just are not the type that can say no and you have sympathy for people, and that gets used against you. And I'm not just saying, like, because another thing that really pisses me off is people saying no to someone who's, you know, not going to argue or fight with them. Like someone who's a decent human being, like a paying customer who might say, can I have this or can I have that? And they're like, oh no. But then you get a customer that's really demanding and, I want this. And they're like, oh yes, sir, yeah, of course. because you're afraid of having an argument with them, and you're like, fuck's sake. I try and reward people who are decent, because it's few and far between. Let me tell you. I will always help decent people out. So if you're a decent person, got all the time in the world for you, for sure. But I've tolerated so much bullshit, and I'm not tolerating anymore. I'm calling people out for it, and I'm not afraid to do that. Because first and foremost, I have a right to respect, because I'm a human being. We all are. We all deserve respect. Um, and let that be known. Don't be anyone's fucking doormat. You don't deserve it. Nobody does. There's a lot of bad fuckers out there who will just encourage you to work your arse off while they take advantage of you. And that's something else I wanted to talk about. So, toxic people who are not necessarily very obvious, the ones who are overly nice to you, the ones who are buying you stuff, so you'll think to yourself, oh, they're a bit of a dickhead to me today, but they've done this, so therefore they can't be. You know what I mean? Like, do you ever get that? Certainly something to watch out for. I make a separate video about that, but be wary of people who are overly nice, I would say. Um, for sure. Just watch it, be careful. That maybe they've got something to hide. But if they are and they're buying you loads of shit, and then you notice a change in their mood, like you think, oh, they're a lovely guy, they're really sound, they're buying me a pint, they bought me dinner. You're kind of going, oh, they're being a bit of a dickhead today, but oh, they did this nice thing for me, therefore they must not be a bad person. I'm probably misreading it, and you're second guessing yourself. That's how gaslighting starts. um, so yeah, just be wary of it, and like you cannot. I'm gonna say it again. You cannot be nice to everyone all the time. Anyway, start off, be decent. Always be decent. Don't be an arsehole to anyone, unless they give you a reason to. And there's another good quote that you can have. But yeah, like, I don't take people as they come, but trust your good instincts. Try not to be an arsehole, but if you have to be an arsehole, do it well. I'll leave it on that, guys. Thanks.